the outskirts of the CBD district in downtown Singapore. The usual bonding session from Kenya. They always want to claim the centre spot. Not that it did them too much good in Hong Kong last weekend. So we wait for the referee to appear for this match. He's usually the first man on the field. Let me tell you, I'm Wyn Griffith from Wales, and my co-commentator here is former England captain Ollie Phillips. Ollie, good to see you, good to have you here in Singapore after what was a problematic journey from London. I hope you're better, I hope you're feeling better.
It's nice to be here in this fabulous stadium. The roof's closed, and it's going to be an absolutely stunning day of rugby. It's great to see the World Series, the HSBC World 7 Series back here in Singapore. And a great contest we've got coming, second game up here. And
strangely or coincidentally, they've had the warmest temperatures here in Singapore this week for the last 10 years, which coincidentally is when the Sevens, the International Sevens Rugby were held here last in 2006.
It's clearly just bubbling over that heat from Hong Kong, just coming down, but luckily it's the first stadium I've ever been to before that is actually air-conditioned, Wyn, which is quite extraordinary, really.
It is
amazing
indeed
to see.
So we have our referee in Matt O'Brien, 155 matches now in his Sevens career, employed by World Rugby, very experienced referee. Russia will get the game underway, playing from left to right here. Ilya Babayev with the first kick taken by Willie Ambaka. Recently returned into the Kenyan ranks, having seen service in France in the 15s game. So the first penalty goes Kenya's way. Ball held there by Humphrey Kayenge. Such an influential character over the last decade for Kenya. Wearing number 6, his brother Collins Injera. Keep an eye out for him. If you are regular watchers of Sevens, then you will know all about him. That he is second. He has the second most tries of all time. The pressure being applied there by Russia. Sami Oliek, one of the relative newcomers in this Kenyan lineup. Taken in the air by Humphrey Kayenge, and this is their danger man, Collins Injera. The pass is not going to hand early on here. Breakdown in communication. Collins Injera puts his hand up. Sorry, my fault.
Out of position, but a wayward pass from him, giving the ball over to Russia.
A poor return for Collins Injera in Hong Kong last weekend. Just the one try. Needs another 7 to equal the total of Santiago Gomez Cora, now coach of Argentina, former player.
And you've got to fancy him to equal and surpass that before the series comes to an end, but he's going to need to be a little bit more prolific than he was in Hong Kong, as you mentioned, but a fabulous finisher for Kenya, and a stalwart and a consistent performer for them.
It's becoming something of a monkey on his back at the moment, isn't it? He desperately wants that top try scorer tag. But he needs his team to be on song as well for him to achieve that accomplishment.
Sit on my call. You don't put your foot up till the ball comes in.
The referees have been told to be wary of the straight putting at the scrums, not straight at the hooker's feet.
Sit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crucial part. You want to make sure the scrum is a contestable part of the game, and sometimes you can have that crooked feed, but Kenya just come away with it. They want to get some width on this now.
Oscar Ayodi almost up to the Russian 22. He's got support from Sami Oliek. Ball jiggered very quickly by Collins Injera to Lugonzo. And this is Amonde, the captain, looking for the breakthrough. 10 meters short of the Russian try line. Injera has called for it early. He's got support. Not quite certain what to do with possession, though, as Oscar Ayodi spins it out to the right. Again, looks for the hard-hitting Willie Mbaka. Well, Kenya should have scored there, Ollie.
Roll away.
Oh, they should, and I mean, in Ayodi and Mbaka, they've got some serious power as they dive over the line. Just reward for some outstanding effort from Kenya.
The opening score goes to Humphrey Kayenge. He's not a happy man, I don't think, knowing that Kenya should have scored earlier. And when the opportunity came for the big man himself, well, let's not mess about. I'll take it myself. I'll take responsibility. And I'll tell you what, I'll have the try as well. ...155 tries now for Humphrey Kayenge, and add to that the number of passes that he's given to his brother Collins Injera, and he'll claim a share of his brother's tally as well, no doubt.
He's probably happy just to notch one up there to try and reel him back in a touch, but Kenya starting very positively here. It's so good to see the balance that they have now in their squad, and some real talent, pace, and obviously the power that we mentioned already in Ayodi and Mbaka. Real handful.
Good high ball, giving the forwards a chance to get there, but Russia have it well covered, and this is a Russian side that's coming together, and they know that if they can stay ahead of Portugal in the standings with another 2 tournaments to go after Singapore, then they will retain their co status. That's all they're interested in at the very moment, is to retain that all-important co status for next season.
Over.
You're right, but it's so vital that they perform, because points are going to win prizes. Still 3 tournaments left, everything to play for. As we know, next year Japan will be coming onto the series, so they're going to really need to up their game and try and get into that cup quarterfinals if they can.
Trophies in the last 2 tournaments, the Shield in Hong Kong and in Vancouver, which means that they're 6 points ahead of Portugal, with the 3 tournaments, as Ollie rightly points out, to go. Edward Filatov, an opportunity for Russia for the first time with ball in hand, with just 1:20 remaining of the first half. They've got some strong runners. If you get the ball to Vladimir Ostrushko in particular, the big #1, keep an eye out for him.
Just a bit careless there from Russia. Ball retention, possession is going to be crucial for them, and you can't be just gifting it over to Kenya, putting that ball into touch. And now real opportunity for Kenya to capitalise on this mistake and add to their points tally.
Scotland and South Africa also in this pool. Humphrey Kayenge takes the ball, not thrown in straight though.
Not straight.
So it's ball given away.
They contested and it wasn't straight.
If we get a little pause here, when it's going to be interesting to see how the teams manage the heat over here in Singapore. They're probably not going to be used to it on any of the legs so far this HSBC World 7 Series. Really humid, and it's only going to get hotter as the day goes on. Real challenge for them to make sure their body management and their hydration levels stay right.
Yeah, it comes after a tough weekend in Hong Kong. Back-to-back tournaments. The second tournament well, can suffer. Some of the players certainly suffer. Here come Russia, looking for a score. Sozonov up to the 10-meter line. Possession lost, Kenya, and this is where they're good at the counter.
No
usually.
Knock on. Half time.
But all the teams, Ollie, on the circuit have improved over the last few seasons. No real cricket scores anymore.
No, there's not, but this one's set up to be a real cracker so far. Russia just needs some continuity. Let's hope for a really solid second half.
Well, there we are then, just the one score in the opening 7 minutes, claimed by Kenya's Humphrey Kayenge. And the conversion means that Kenya lead Russia at the break by 7-0.
On the sideline.
In the middle of the Russian huddle and barking the orders. Well, that was Alexander Yanushkin, who's a player coach here in Singapore, as he was in Hong Kong last weekend. Had some injury issues, did the Russians, and they're making the best of it. They trail by 7-0 at the top of the second half. Kenya to restart.
Kenya.
Kenya's so dominant in this area. Kayenge for them. The number 6 just tries to challenge the knot. They go up the middle here with Mbaka.
Yeah, the short kick downfield. Luckily for Kenya, it has worked out in the form of a knock-on by one of the Russian players, so Kenya will get the scrum put in.
And that again just demonstrates their balance they have, their win. They've got Kayange wide on the left and Mbaka up the middle there, and all it requires is the kick to be precision on that 10-yard line, and the result is there for everyone to see. They get the ball back, opportunity to start the second half with possession inside Russian territory.
Too low, stand up. Crouch.
For William Mbaka was certainly a sensation a couple of seasons ago when he burst on the sevens scene. In the lead up to the Rugby World Cup sevens in Russia in 2013. Kenya through Oscar Ayodi, well wrapped up in the tackle by German Davidov, the Russian captain. Kenya, will they look to spread it wide? They keep it tight, keep it close, keep it interesting. First try of the second half. Oh, that's a good sign. If the Kenyans are celebrating, that tells me that they're in a good mood here in Singapore. And would you believe it, that second try amounts to 25% of their total tally of tries last weekend in Hong Kong.
Well, look at that for footwork, I tell you. In and out. He knows that he totally does the Russian defender. And look at this for a celebration. Not quite sure what he's imitating, but there we go. Great to see them so enthusiastic ahead of this tournament this weekend.
Yeah, this the fourth tournament for Sami Oleg, and that's his fourth try. And Kenya are in the lead by 14-0. Kenya, they ran New Zealand close last weekend in Hong Kong, lost by 5-0. Then they ran Fiji close, losing by 2 points, 12-10. But then they were thrashed in the plate semi-finals by England, 33-0. How do you account for that? I really don't know. Kenya driving forward through Humphrey Kayange, leading the charge there. Well, he's commanding things from the scrum half position. There he is. This is William Mbaka, can't get away from the clutches of Vladislav Lazarenko. Kayange, where is Collins and Jera? Oliek,
Advantage.
Another mistake. But Russia back deep in their own 22 here.
As we just paused for respite there after the Kenyan mistake. Really interesting to see there off that drive from Humphrey Kayange, the evolution of this Kenyan side and their understanding of the game, the rules, the regulations there. Recognising not to engage around Humphrey Kayange, therefore not setting a mauled ball back. Really clever from them and playing the rules to perfection.
Fed in by Dmitry Sukin. Coming on the angle, there he is, Vladimir Ostrushko. And Kenya keeping a watchful eye on him, Filatov. We also have Denis Simplikovic, who's a prolific try scorer for Russia, wears the number 11. Two big guys, 1 and 11. But Kenya have stolen it once again. Kayange finds a gap, the half gap. Now then, where's the support? Slow in arriving. In goes Davidov. A chance perhaps here for Russia. They're a long way out though. They can do nothing without the ball.
Well, that's a little bit of a absolute, I think it's called a shocker in rugby terminology, because there Lazarenko just forgetting to keep hold of the ball as he starts to open up. And what it's done is given Kenya possession all over again in Russian territory.
Well, you mentioned humidity. The ball may be a little slippery there. Sweat on the palms of the hands as well.
Crouch.
Or just clouding their thought process at the same time. One or the other win.
Well, it is the first game of the day. They've had some 5-6 days to recover from Hong Kong, and it's a great city to visit is Singapore, and they've been able to see some of the sights. Magnificent city, the financial hub here in Southeast Asia. Straight down the middle goes Robert Aringo, the youngster, the newcomer. Part of Mike Friday's largest squad for the 2013 Sevens World Cup. Often overlooked.
He cut a fabulous line to totally glide through the middle of that Russian defence, and now pressure's back on them. Kenya, can they convert this into points?
Injera thinks there might be a half chance perhaps down this narrow side, sucking in some Russian defenders. Now they'll spread it wide into the outside channels. Good work by Aringo once again, opening up the gap, this time for William Baka. A third try for Kenya, and they're not out of third gear.
And that's twice now. Aringo's gone straight through the middle of the Russian defence, and then has the presence of mind to slip a lovely little offload inside for a very simple try from Baka. But what a wonderful bit of play from Aringo, twice there, backing himself, and you want to see that in play. It's real confidence, taking it to the defensive line. Outstanding work.
Simple conversion from in front of the posts, and Kenya extend their lead to 3 tries, 3 conversions, 21-0. So can Russia get a score? Because on the first day, every score counts. Determines where you will be playing and who you'll be playing on the second day. Ostrushko injured his ankle in the run-up to the Hong Kong Sevens, missed out as a consequence. Yanushkin, the player coach, out to Simplikovic. Once he gets going, he's a very difficult man to stop, so you have to pull him down early.
Legs up.
Well, that is a fabulous tackle from Oyo there. Absolutely smashes the big Russian, and this is technically outstanding. Lines him up, keeps his legs driving forward, sends him into touch, uses the touchline as his friend. Great tackle from him. Wins the turnover for his side.
Kenya looking to stretch the Russian defense. Injera well marshalled. Wanyama replacement, wearing 5. Injera scoops it out to Alvin Otieno. Some unfamiliar names perhaps to
Advantage.
many people in this Kenyan side. There is great depth
Advantage
to
over.
this Kenyan side, and Benjamin Ayimba has any number of players that he can call upon other than the regulars we see on the circuit, which is good news for Kenyan rugby. Once again, Kenya react very quickly to Robert Aringo.
Advantage, high tackle.
Driving forward this time through Samuel Montari, the debutant here in Singapore from the Impala
Dangerous
Saracens. We've arrived at full time perhaps for one more score. And the Kenyans are more likely to score it, although when this guy gets the ball, he can run the length of the field of Vladimir Ostrushko, as he did against Zimbabwe in the qualifiers of 2 years ago. German Davidov for the last throw of the dice then for Russia, and Vladimir Ostrushko finally gets his hands on the ball in space and gets a consolation score for the Russians.
Well, Win, I think that just demonstrates, despite their defeat, the quality that's in this Russian side. The best try of the game so far, undoubtedly. A series of offloads, combining incredibly well for Ostrushko to go over the line, but an outstanding try from Russia just to finish the game up.
Well, they've certainly benefited from being a core team on the circuit this year. If they can hold on to that core status, then they can only develop next season as well. But for now, let's congratulate Kenya on the opening match and the opening win, which sees them down Russia by 21.